We'll try that again. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, now let's say it like it's a nice day in autumn 2018. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Wendell Blair. I'm the Dean of Student Services here at Harold Washington College. Welcome to Harold Washington. So glad that you guys are here today for our Transformation Conference. I'm excited that you are here because you're important to me. And you may be wondering, why am I important to him? He doesn't even know who I am. You are important to me because you are being proactive. In other words, you're looking forward, you're looking past right now. And you're important to me because I've reached the age where I have had a president that's been younger than me. My minister is younger than me. And so you guys, someone in this room may wind up being my physician, may wind up being my attorney, may be my financial planner. So I'm glad you're here because that tells me that you're proactive, you're looking forward, and that's the kind of person I want working for me. So give yourselves a hand for being here this morning. There are many other places you could have been this morning. It's Friday morning, the weather is nice. You're like, hey, I could be somewhere else, but I am glad that you are here because you are the leaders of tomorrow. You may not think so, but you are the leaders of tomorrow. You guys are going to be members of the Senate. You're the ones that are going to find cures for cancer. They're in this room right now, and I'm glad that you're here. Please take advantage of everything that you hear today, from our keynote speaker all the way down to the food that you're going to have. Thanks for coming to Harold Washington. Have a great day. Now I have the great job of introducing to you royalty. Now, how many of you guys have met someone that's royal before? No? Okay, well, I just want you to know, here at Harold Washington, we are blessed. We have royalty in our building. We have the queen of transfer. Her name is Ellen Goldberg.
Oh my God! Everybody say OMG. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Good morning. Buenos dias. My name is Ellen Goldberg. I would like to believe that I'm the queen of transfer. There is a queen of transfer on every single campus. How many of you know your transfer center director on your campus? Show of hands. All right, that is fantabulous. We welcome you to Harold Washington. How many of you are home at Harold? This is your home campus. All right, we heard you, yay. How many of you are from any other campus in the city colleges? Well, welcome to Harold, we heard you. And all 7 of the campuses are here, and so we're so grateful to all of you for making this a huge success. This is gonna be a great day. So I have the honor and the privilege of introducing a total rock star. You guys know that's my word, right? Rock star. Krishan Lampley is a rock star, and she is an entrepreneur. So let me tell you a little bit about Krishan Lampley. So Krishan Lampley is the founder of LCS Entertainment LLC. As seen on CNBC's The Job Interview, she is a negotiant, a wine enthusiast, and the founder of LCS Entertainment. She is also the founder of Love Corkscrew Wines. Love Corkscrew is a lifestyle brand that launched 6 varietals in the 4th quarter of 2013, along with wine-scented candles. Can I get a yay? Yay! So I have the honor and the privilege of introducing Krishan Lampley.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you. And a lot of you are probably like, what the heck is a negotiant, right? So actually, I'm going to play a little really fun clip to give you guys a little insight on my day to day. Here we go.
Day would be that's
Volume up.
basically what a normal day looks like.
Where's the volume?
Love Corkscrew is a wine
We're gonna
company
start
that
all
I
over
started
again
in
with the volume, so you
2013.
guys
So I am the maker of wine. No, I do.
I think
There
that
we
a
go.
normal day would be unpredictable. That's basically what a normal day looks like.
Love Corkscrew is a wine company that I started in 2013. So I am the maker of wine. No, I do not make wine in my bathtub. I actually source. I'm a private label, and I source from 3 different vineyards right now. It's a growing company, and we're in the likes of Whole Foods, Mariano's, just landed Target. The wine industry is very difficult to get into, definitely on the winemaker side. There's so many vineyards and wineries that have been out for years, passed on from generation to generation. So as a private label, it's very difficult to get in this industry and be taken seriously. People tend to think if the wine is not from certain parts of California, or just certain parts of the world, period, that they don't take it seriously. And there's so many wonderful vineyards out here that aren't recognized, that I felt that I need to kind of introduce to the world. And I did that through Love Corkscrew. The size of Love Corkscrew now, in terms of employees, very small. Very small. I have a publicist, Aikita right here. I have an assistant, a few ambassadors, as well as an operation manager. So very small knit group of people, but they're very close and they have these great roles that they play. So we're growing, and as the company grows, there's going to be so many, hopefully more people that I can bring onto the mix. But right now we're small but huge at the same time.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
You ready?
I think so. Yes.
So we were looking for a wine ambassador, and that basically is a full realm of not just being available for tastings, but also being able to represent Love Corkscrew in its entirety. And so what does that look like? Someone who is extremely personable, customer service, can sell well, and very happy, groomed for sure.
Oh, hands down.
Groomed.
Yes.
So it was really important for us to find that one person as we continue to grow.
We're in a grocery store. You have some Love Corkscrew. I'm a customer and I'm walking up. The whole point that Love Corkscrew is looking to do it in the short term, hopefully, is to become national. So the ambassador is so important because they represent me, and I cannot always be there. They represent even beyond me. They represent Love Corkscrew. And that entity is larger than Krishan Lampley.
Okay, so that was last year, around this time actually. So I was on national TV on CNBC. So let's backtrack. So I'm gonna go back to, I always change it whether I'm speaking in a college or to young grammar kids. I'm gonna go back to the college days, a little bit before, right? So I leave high school extremely socially awkward. I was the weird kid. Tell you how, why? Weird kid because I was one of the fastest runners, huge sprinter, right? Used to run a 50, 100, just as quick as anybody, right? All state. But also, I was a pianist. I had perfect pitch, played piano for 13 years. And also, I was into calculus, and I was huge math student, right? Great math student. So you see this weirdness here, right? I didn't fit into any group. Didn't fit into the popular kids, didn't fit into the athletes because I also was a musician. So it was just this weird awkwardness. But for some reason, I was okay with it. I didn't get upset, I didn't get sad. I was bullied left and right, but I was okay. I also was the only black student all the way until high school. I grew up in Downers Grove. I went to Downers Grove South, and I literally was the only black kid in my area. A few lived in Bolingbrook, a few lived in the Willowbrook area, but not in Downers Grove. So I was an oddball. So then I go to Western. All of a sudden it's like, what, this whirlwind of this rainbow of people. Just a little everybody, right? I'm like, what's happening? I'm not used to this. This is amazing. Then I end up being the cool kid, right? Pledged Delta Sigma Theta sorority. All of a sudden I'm just, all of a sudden I'm just this cool kid. So it was this extreme of being so socially awkward and so weird to being pushed into the front and center, right? And it was weird for me. I wasn't sure how to feel. Something just still wasn't right. I was used to being the only child. I was used to being alone. I was used to being talked about in a bad way. But for some reason I said, all right, I'm gonna keep going. There's a reason for all of this. There's a reason for this extreme jump. So then fast forward to me graduating, right? Now I graduated, this is really weird. It shows you how old I am. I graduated in the home economics department at the time. It was still called home economics, right? Where they didn't have a fashion school, so I wanted to be a fashion buyer in New York. So the concentration was gerontology. That's the study of old people. with home economics classes and econ classes all wrapped up into one little bunch. How does that make sense, right? So I actually graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Family Consumer Science. What the heck is that, right? But then my junior year, I was able to do this program where I was able to go to New York and go to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, my junior year. So when I came back and graduated from Western, I had 2 degrees. So I have a Bachelor of Science in Family Consumer Science and an Associate's degree in Fashion Business. All right, so little weird. So fast forward to being thrown into the work field. I decided that I really like being in front of people and talking, and I have that sales marketing. Since a kid, I worked at, you guys are not gonna know what Venture is. I worked at Venture in the jewelry department. So I'm always talking to people, right? Regardless of my awkwardness, regardless of my weirdness and my being bullied, I still like talking to everybody. So I decided to stay into sales marketing. So next thing you know, I hit the workforce. My parents retired, moved to Las Vegas. I moved with them. I'm working in the likes of Dior, working for Escada, all these huge high-end fashion boutiques, right? Become a $2.5 million book. It's a lot of sales, right? I sold a lot. And I sold to the wealthiest of the wealthiest people, down to the gritty drug dealers, you name it, right? Anybody coming with cash, coming with whatever on Michigan Avenue, we sold to. So I could talk to anybody, and that's how I accelerated. Mind you, some of these women and men had been in the industry forever, way older than me, but I'm coming in at 21 beating them in sales, right? Because I wanted to just talk to anybody, never turned up my nose to not one person. Fast forward to me owning an art gallery and bar. How did I get into that? Business partner at the time said, I want to open a bakery and art gallery. I'm like, that's cool and all, but I want to open a nightclub, so how do we merge these things together? So we end up merging together and we created an art gallery and bar. Was right actually in this area on 16th and Michigan. And we were one of the first African American women to have a liquor license and a bar art gallery within that sector, right? Within the South Loop. So, big deal. We were on Sun Times, Tribune, you name it. We were the cool kids. But we had a very small location, very small place, right? So it was hard to make a lot of money, but it was cool. We had some of the best artists there. Actually, one famous one right now, Hebrew Brantley. He actually did tons. He does a lot for Nike now. He did a lot for our bar as far as getting the gallery and selling artwork and getting things up into the public eye, right? So 3 years in, I end up actually writing the wine list. What does that mean? The menu, the wine on the menu, I'm the one who chose exactly what was going to be there. I was the one who picked the varietals, what I think everybody would enjoy. Well, 2010, that won Chicago's Best as the best wine list in the city of Chicago. So I'm like, I'm kind of good at this, huh? So December, that following year, for some reason, I'm not sure why, I decided to walk into the gallery Christmas Day. I was heading to the suburbs to see my family who lived in Wheaton, and I said, let me just stop by before I get on the highway. So I walk in, it's really dark because it's on 16th Street, so there's no sunlight. And when I open the door, I smell this really bad stench. And now it's dark because the light switch is in the back of the gallery. So as I'm walking, pitch black, I'm walking through water. And I'm thinking maybe the bar just, leaked a little bit. Maybe something spilled, maybe some wine, some beer, something spilled on the floor. But what is this awful stench? So when I turned on the light, imagine standing in 2 inches of sewer water. So imagine what's in that, right? So I looked, my father came from general contracting construction, so I kind of had a feeling for what was going on. I looked on the floor, and I saw the caps of where the plumbing was, and they were about a foot away. So that's like an explosion. So I'm like, what the heck happened? Come to find out that the condo owners above us flushed non-biodegradable baby wipes down the toilet. So it exploded. So we all talk about insurance, how everybody's insured with this, insured with that. We had $2 million worth of dram shop insurance. That's liquor insurance, right? You think that was covered in baby wipes? No. We lost everything. And when I say we lost everything, during that time, small business loans were really attached to personal property. So I had personal property in Arbor Gresham, and in the Hyde Park area, and I lost it all because what? It was attached to the loan. So I was about, let's say, 2 days away from getting kicked out of my condo, losing everything. Condo that I paid for with my earned money from that $2.5 million book I had. I bought my own place, right? I was 2 days from losing it. But the friends that I met at the gallery, one just happened to be a lawyer. And he just happened to see everything that progressed, right? So let me backtrack one more time. When we lost everything, I went into this extremely dark place. I was home with the covers over my head. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And when I say I lost everything, I had a bank account full, gone, all gone. And I said, what am I gonna do? Oh wait, my heart is still beating. So for some reason, I need to wake up in the morning. I need to get out of this bed. So I started writing a blog because everybody kept calling me and bugging me. Remember I told you I wrote the wine list? So everybody would call me and say, Krishan, I'm going to this hot party. What do I bring? What spirit do I bring? Do I bring the coolest vodka? What do I do? Or I'm going to a restaurant, or I want to take my girlfriend out. Where should I go? Everybody's calling me while I'm dark with no money, about to get kicked out of my home, and the cover's over my head. I'm like, oh my God, I wish everybody would leave me alone. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a blog. I'm an awful writer. Awful writer. But I said I'm gonna write a blog, and the blog is gonna be called Love, Cork, Screw. The love section was funny things that would happen in the bar, 2 girls owning a bar, right? Nobody really thought we were the owners. So some funny stories that happen, right? The cork section was my varietal picks and different restaurant picks that I would send to people and tell people where to go, the cool place, right? The screw section was a wild card, and I'd talk about pop culture and different things happening in the world. Well, the blog got so much attention because everybody's like, where the heck is Krishan at? The gallery closed, we're sad, we want to find her. What's going on? Now I'm home in bed. So then I said, okay, another escape. Again, my heart's still beating, I'm not dead. So I gotta get up. And nobody cares about me but me, so I gotta get up. So I started doing a radio show. Kind of have this radio voice here, right? So the radio show was called Love, Cork, Screw. Internet radio was the hot thing. Now, I'm not a millennial, I'm an Xer, so I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So the show was called Love, Cork, Screw. Next thing you know, I have 4,000 listeners. And I wonder what the show was about, right? Love, Cork, Screw, the same thing my blog was. So now remember I told you that lawyer that was around 2 days before I lost my home. He said, Krishan, I've seen everything that has happened to you, and I refuse for you to lose your home. So I'm gonna help you out. He saved my life with absolutely nothing. I had nothing. I had no money, nothing at all. And he said, I'm gonna do it for you because I watched your journey and I've seen you these 3 years, and you're a fighter, and there's no way I'm gonna let you lose. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have a home right now. So I'm like, okay, I get to keep my home. And what the heck am I gonna do right now? I have nothing, I have no money, I lost my business. It's gonna be hard probably for me to get back into sales. So what am I gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna start my own business, because I'm crazy. So what am I gonna do? 2 things. I used to own a bar, a gallery, right? Well, on the other side, I worked in sales and distribution. Remember I told you I'm like this huge, hardcore sales marketing person, right? So I said, I'm gonna take both of those connections, working in the liquor distribution end, and I had the top territories, right? I had Naperville, Lisle, Lombard, Wheaton, biggest areas of restaurant golf courses, right? So I said, I'm gonna take 2 of those sides, and what am I gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna start my own wine brand. Are you kidding me? This black girl from Downers Grove with their own wine? How are you gonna do that? So people laughed at me. They're like, you don't own a vineyard. How the heck are you gonna do that? I said, watch me. So what I did was, I drove to Michigan, went to different vineyards in Illinois, I flew to California, and I convinced those vineyards and wineries to produce my own wine. A little hard, right? What does that mean? That means I have to use my sales and marketing skills and my craziness that I tell you I have, and I have to say to these, I call them the millionaire farmers, right? I have to tell these millionaire farmers that this black girl from Chicago is gonna outsell them in wine. Promise you I will. I flew to California, I convinced them. I drove to Michigan, I convinced them. I drove to a vineyard in Illinois, I convinced them. Love Corkscrew launched 2013, over 75,000 bottles sold. Can I get a clap for that one? So what does private label mean? That means the wine bottle you see, the UPC on the back, that's mine. That means I own it. So the best way to put it is I'm a chemist, if you will. So any liquid within that bottle is mine. I own the brand. Right now we're on the likes of Mariano's, Whole Foods. We just landed Target, which is very exciting. And we're growing on a national scale. So what does this all mean in the big scale? So nationally, I consider, they call me an importer-exporter, right? So I'm licensed to import-export wine anywhere in the entire world. So if there's wine in Africa, I can bring it in, right? I can ship it out. I can do all that. So it seems exciting, right? It seems like, okay, cool. She just drinks wine every day, all day. And she just goes around, sips and sells, and she makes all this money. So I told you I sold 75,000 bottles of wine. Well, on the big scale of things, let's talk about these big vineyards and the Barefoots of the world and the Sutter Homes of the world, all these big brands that you know. On average, they sell about 250,000 of each varietal each year. So do the math on that. I've only sold 75,000 of 5 varietals total. So I have a long way to go. So let me even put it in a larger perspective here. I told you as an African-American woman negotiant and owning a private label, there is literally documented only 60 of us. 60. 60 out of 111,000 in the world. So imagine being that unicorn. 60. So I account for less than 1% of the entire industry in the entire world. Imagine how that feels. I normally walk into the room, they think I'm a promotional girl. Oh, she's just the face of the brand. She doesn't own this. So it puts me in this weird, awkward space, right? Makes me feel, it's a little hard sometimes, right? It's this pit in my stomach. But let's backtrack to what I told you. That kid that was awkward, socially awkward, always different, never fit in. And I look back to elementary school, high school, college, and I say to myself, oh, I get it. This is why. This set me up for what I do now. So when I walk into the room and I feel socially awkward and weird, in my head I'm like, I don't have to prove myself because all that matters to me is me and how I feel. So I'm gonna sit back quiet, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna take in everything that these people have to offer. And it's funny how all of a sudden somebody will look at me like, wait a minute, you're the owner, aren't you? I'm like, yeah. But I didn't have to walk in the room and say, I own this company and I'm Big Love Corkscrew. No, I'm gonna take it in, I'm gonna learn. Because that's what I learned being socially awkward and weird. And it all progressed to now. Now you say, how in the world were you in gerontology with a concentration in fashion merchandising and now you're a maker of wine? Weird, huh? Now I'm an entrepreneur. It's one of those things where you just don't know. You just don't know what's gonna happen. But all you can do is continue growing day by day. And that is not, and this is the main thing I always say, it's not following your passion because your passion follows you. Now what the heck does that mean? You don't follow your passion, but your passion follows you. Okay, so you can be passionate about cooking, but you suck. You're terrible, right? Your cupcakes taste awful, right? Your steak is usually dry. Or you love singing the right? You just think you can blow. But you sound absolutely awful and you're tone deaf. But you're passionate about it, right? You can play ball. You're passionate about it, right? But you're not great at it. But your passion follows you. So think about all those things, those great things that people always say you're amazing at. And it's something that just comes naturally to you and you don't pay attention to it. That's your passion following you. It's knocking you in the head sometimes. So I think like, how did my passion follow me? Because when I was younger, it taught me how to be stronger. So I was in this learning phase of becoming strong, becoming okay with being the one awkward person in the room. And then I progressed to being in college, thrown in the midst of everybody, because I'm the cool sorority girl, right? So all of a sudden, I'm in the limelight, and I'm feeling weird, like, what the heck? But okay, I think I can do this. to becoming 60 out of 111,000 in the world. So all of that set me up for my passion to follow me. So as you make it through college, through school, and you study, sometimes you may not get exactly what you think you're supposed to do. For religious folks, they say, God laughs at you when you pick a plan. Yeah, right. It doesn't work out like that. Same as when you get educated about certain things that may not be exactly where you fall into place in the big scheme of life, but it will always teach you the next phase because everything happens for a reason. And you need to keep moving. And as I say, for some reason I'm still breathing. That means to me that if I can affect one person, I don't have to affect all of you. If I affect one person to follow their dreams and go for it, I've done my job and I'm okay. It's that simple. Was that 45 minutes? Because I can keep going. Please ask any questions. I love questions. Please don't be afraid to ask. You got me here before I get too big for my britches. Come on. Questions? Oh, good.
So do you suggest, like, you were talking about passions, right? And you said it always follows you. So do you suggest following that, like, right away, or just, like, keep on going until it comes naturally?
You know, it's a funny thing. It's one of those things where you say to yourself day by day because you can't truly plan, but you can plan each day.
What was his question?
I'm sorry. Here, you know what? I'm going to hand him the mic so he can say it exactly. No, here. I love walking around with mics. Oh, this is fun.
So my question was, do you follow that passion right away, or do you just let it come naturally?
I love that question. Do you follow your passion right away, or do you let it come naturally? So funny, like I said, it kind of hits you in the head. So you need to keep moving forward. So whatever your degree is that you're going to get, whatever your educational background is, I want you to continue doing that consistently. But if there's the little birdie that tells you, but I also want to do. People always say they're so busy. Oh, you guys are so busy, right? No, I still have a full-time job. How is that possible? So I barely sleep. I'm team no sleep, right? So I still can use my education to pay my mortgage. That's most important for me. I'm a single woman. I need to pay for everything. So I can still move forward with what I was educated in, but I also can still take really cool control of my passion, right? Control of what threw itself in my face. The winemaker, I'm still there. So I can still operate on both ends. Eventually, I'm gonna leave my full-time, and I'm gonna do wine full-time. I've been doing this for 4 years now. It's about time. I probably should have left a long time ago, but I like having money, right? So I say all that to say, never ignore what is in your face as your passion. Never ignore it, because you don't want to be 80 years old and say, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. I still hear my dad say he should have invested in McDonald's back in the day. I'm like, really? I would have been a rich kid? Are you kidding me? But he didn't listen, right? He didn't listen to the little birdie that was telling him, just go on and do it. You guys are educated. You can always fall back on your education. You'll be okay. You could always get a job. But always move forward and know life is, I know this sounds cliche, but it's so short. Life is so short. I almost died July 13th last year. And when I woke up out of the hospital bed, I'm like, oh, hell no. Am I not going to follow every single thing I want to do? Because I'd rather at 80 say, I did it. It didn't work out, but I had a ball. I'd rather say that. So I hope that answers your question. Go for it. Go for it. Any other questions? Nothing? Oh, there we go. I thought so.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you so much for coming out, Krishan. It's been amazing hearing your testimony. It's so intense and really inspiring. And I think for probably most people in the room right now, can you give me and us some of the practical skills that you have acquired over the years? You talked about being socially awkward when you were a little younger. where do you find your charisma? You're amazing. You're such an amazing person, and I can see how you were so successful in sales and things of that nature. So what are some of the practical, like maybe little daily things that you do to find that charisma?
You know, the funny thing I learned, and as an only child, people think we're extremely selfish and all we care about is ourselves. But I actually flipped that to all I have is me. I have a lot of friends, but I always say to myself, just because something bad is happening to me, do they really care? You're gonna be on the phone with your friends for 5 minutes, right? Oh, woe is me. But as soon as you get off the phone, they're still gonna go out to dinner, right? They're still gonna do their thing. So at the end of the day, if you focus on you and know that nobody else cares, what makes you so special? We all have issues. We all have bad things that happen in our life. You tell me one thing, I bet you I can up you another. So what? At the end of the day, it's about you. So where my strength comes in is, number one, I had older parents. One who had lost his parents, ironically, my father lost his parents to alcoholism. And he raised himself, went to the military and raised himself. I have my mother who grew up amongst 6 children, who she was the oldest daughter, so she took care of the whole family, while my grandparents were a chef and a maid. So their resilience said to me, if they can make it and become extremely successful. My dad was president of minority purchasing at Commonwealth Edison. My mom was an amazing ComEd accountant, that's how they met. And I said, with no education, she just barely made it through high school. And I said to myself, okay, if they can do it, I have no excuse. So what keeps me going is my heart's beating. At the end of the day, go for it. If somebody says no, I get told no every day, all day. Yesterday, I got told no about 20 times. And it's frustrating. But I said to myself, okay, so I'm gonna wake up now and I'm gonna try again. Because there's plenty of money to be made. There's plenty of things you can do. There's plenty out there. And there's somebody who's going to say yes. So I say all that to say, every day you think about what you want to accomplish, not about what everybody else is doing. I could care less about what everybody else is doing. You have to focus on you and keep moving forward and keep pushing. Because if you get caught in yourself and stop yourself from moving forward, nobody cares about that. So you're only internalizing your sadness and you're upset that you lost. So get up. I was almost homeless. Get up and keep moving because you are here for a reason. Hope that answers your question.
I may say it's truly an honor and a blessing to be here, and I truly understand your awkwardness and being an outcast, and I've been truly inspired. But how did you deal with the stress of being in college and all of that through all the awkwardness and such?
That was awful. It was awful. It was weird. Because again, I'm here running with all the athletes, and I'm still at the end of the day, I don't get invited to the party. And then I'm singing with all the musicians, playing the piano for them, right? And they could care less. And then I'm with the geeks who I'm like, hey, I can solve this problem like you can. And they still don't care. And I'm the only black kid. A little weird. But every time I would go home and I would tell my parents about it, and I wasn't really a crier, but I would say, you know, I don't understand. Why am I getting treated like this? And my mom would say, imagine living like this in the 60s. And I thought about that. I'm like, okay. And seriously, even as a young kid, I was like, whoa, what my parents went through, how in the world can I think what I'm going through is so, so bad? So I said, okay, I'm just gonna wake up. I'm gonna keep going because I'm still doing what I want. And the stress level, I released it. I released it in a lot of ways. All those things that I told you I was awkward in, that's how I released my stress. Whether it was running, whether it was singing. I wanted to be Annie all the time. So that's actually one of my bottles is called Hard Knock Life. People think I named it after Jay-Z. Actually, it was after Annie, because I always wanted to be Annie, and I had red hair when I was a kid. But I released everything within the things I enjoyed. Now I cycle. So my point is release your stress and have other outlets to release it. And keep moving. Again, I could care less what anybody's saying on social media, Facebook, whatever, somebody's texting me something negative, delete, block, keep it moving. Because who cares? I hope that answers.
What made you think that the wine industry was something that you could break into, and what gave you the confidence to tell these vineyards that they should trust you when there are all these other huge vineyards out there? Also, how quality is the wine from Illinois versus the wine from California?
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, what made me think I could do this? I could be in the wine industry and these vineyards would trust me. I'm still not sure. 4 years later, I'm still not sure. But I had the confidence to say, told you I had the sales background, right? So some of my largest clients were billionaires. Billionaires. So I was able to talk to these people with no problem and convince them to buy something that they completely did not need. I can convince you to buy a Cashgora jacket. A lot of people don't even know what Cashgora is. In blue periwinkle, $3,500. I can tell you, you must have this jacket. It was acting, right? So I said, if I can do that, I think I can convince these vineyards to let me move their product, but tweak it to make it my own. I was just going for it. And that's what I believe a lot of people don't do. We get so scared because we want to get behind the books and we want to do this 500-page business plan. I think my business plan was about 20 pages, maybe. Maybe I had a few more pictures in there, so maybe about 10 pages written. And I still said, you know what, I'm gonna go for it, because all these people that know so much about business but never do it, then how are you truly an entrepreneur if you don't go for it? So that's why. Was I sure they would do it? No, I thought they were gonna laugh at me. But as I'm driving, I'm blasted by music. I like house music, so I'm blasted by music, and I'm driving to Michigan, and I said, I'm gonna do it. And I left listening to Coldplay, and I knew I was going to make some money. So I did it. Yeah, I'm old, Coldplay, I know. So, the comparison of wine in being the Illinois vineyards, right? If you know a little bit about wine, most Illinois vineyards are not 96 points, right? So they're not rated high wines. But I actually source from Illinois, Michigan, and California. But when I did my research, I knew that the number one reason why people buy wine is the label, number 2, the price, and number 3, the taste. 1 and 2 usually beat 3, meaning people will continuously buy wine that's disgusting to them because they recognize and know it, because it's easy. Wine is very complicated. A lot of times when people walk through a wine aisle, they just see all this scrolling from France and Argentina, and you're like, what the heck is this? So I'm just gonna grab the coolest looking bottle, and I'm just going, oh, wait, it's only $10.99, boom, mine. And I knew that. And that's actually about 90% of the people, the market that buys wine. That top 10%, sure, the Stag Leaps and the Cask 23s of the world, they want $300 bottle of wine. Yep, love it too. But I knew there was a market out there for what I needed to do.
Is there direct competition like the Barefoots of the world?
My direct competition is not Barefoot because I'm considered mid-tier. They're slightly lower in the price range. So I would say Cupcake, Layer Cake, Middle Sister, stuff with very cool, catchy labels, which I think I can show. Skinny Girl, I'm glad you mentioned Skinny Girl, because people are like, who the heck is your mentor? I would say definitely in the realm of Skinny Girl, because, let me just show you a couple of pictures. Where are my pictures? Here we go. So just to show you what my, oh, wait, let me get out of there. Hope you guys are over 21 listening to me. Here we go, about us. All right, so just to show you my labels. See how easy that is to recognize? So, a lot of people would come up to me, because I am a wine connoisseur, and they would say, oh, I love Merlot. I'm like, oh, really? So do you like your wine to be sweet or dry? Red or white? Like red, sweet or dry? Sweet. Merlot is not sweet. So I'm like, get it. A lot of people cannot pronounce Chenin Blanc and Chianti and all this stuff, right? And that's okay. You don't have to impress me, but what they can recognize is, I want a bottle of that Touch the Sky. I want a bottle of Hard Knock Life. That's what they remember. So when they walk into Benny's, Whole Foods, Mariano's, Target, they ask for Love Corkscrews. We're moving on up, which is my Cabernet Sauvignon. You don't have to remember it's a cab. So that is why, to answer your question, why I can do very well compared to some of the larger vineyards that have the 96-point wine, because that's not what everybody cares about. They like the taste, which is subjective. You can taste a $500 bottle and have no idea what you're tasting and think it tastes like crap. And lastly, I'll tell you a really fun thing to finish the answer to your question. I took one sommelier and one very, very high wine connoisseur out for drinks one day. We're sitting at the bar, and we do a whole taste test. I believe we were at bin 36. So we do a whole taste test, and I said to them, if you guys can pick out the highest price glass we're about to drink, middle and low, 1, 2, 3, I will buy everybody's round right here. Now, mind you, when I added in the high glass, probably my total bill would have been about $600. So I was really scared. So I said, I want you guys 1, 2, 3 to pick the wines. Neither one of them could do it. But these are sommeliers. How could they not pick the most expensive wine out of all those wines? Because it's subjective. It's subjective. Now, of course, yes, there's good and bad wine. There's certain judgments of it, but not everybody can do it. So that's when I really said to myself, I know what I'm doing here. I'm going to pick something that's universally good, because that's why I picked these 5. Because people will say, well, why don't you do a Chardonnay? Why don't you do a Merlot? Because there's 50 million wines out here. I'm a private label. Let me do my 5. Most private labels do 2. So I'm going to do my 5. I'm the Snapple of wines. Let me do my 5, and that's it. So hope that answers your question.
I love you. So, I think you're awesome. With your wines, how did you come up with the labels? And then what made you go from wines to candles?
Great question. So my labels. My labels are what I told you guys about number 1, label, number 2, price, number 3, taste. So I said my labels had to stick out. A lot of people cannot pronounce certain varietals, so that's why I came up with the names. Touch the Sky is simply as the color Niagara. You see it's that beautiful, sunny yellow. Touch the Sky. Like literally there was no big thought into this, and people are like, oh my God, this is genius. Pinot Grigio, Good Times, Good Friends, because I knew a Pinot Grigio is something that a lot of women take to different parties with their girlfriends. So simply that. And I want to appeal to the general market. My wine is not geared to African American. It's everybody loves wine. I don't care what you are. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, atheist, whatever. If you love wine, I love you. Head Over Heels, my semi-sweet Riesling. The reason why I put it in that bottle and called it Head Over Heels is very romantic, so I wanted to sell during Valentine's Day. Riesling is usually a very ugly color. So I decided, and actually Riesling in the world is known to be the best varietal, but Americans think it's one of the worst. So I said, I got you Americans. I'm gonna stick it in the most beautiful, awesome bottle that's different. I'm gonna make it dark so you don't see the ugly color, and I'm gonna call it Head Over Heels. Hard Knock Life, exactly what I told you. I was born, I'm telling you, if you see my baby pictures, I had red hair. And I always wanted to be Annie, so I named it Hard Knock Life. And we're moving on up. That's my one California red. So exactly what it is, we're moving on up. The George Jefferson, yes, it's from the Jeffersons. We're moving on up, that's my cab, because that would be my top echelon of my wines. So that's simply why I named them the bottles I did. And there was a second question, wasn't there? Oh, candles. So a lot of people come up to me all the time and say, I don't drink. I always answer them, I know you may not, but most likely your friends do. That's great and all, but they want to support me. I'm like, how can they support Love Corkscrew? Got it. I'm gonna come up with something that's non-alcoholic. That simple, right? So I said, what am I gonna do? Wine-scented candles, because I wanted to set an atmosphere. My whole thought is indulgence knows no boundaries, which is my motto, and I want to hit all 5 senses. So why not hit smell with candles, because I'm setting a mood. So I actually introduced the candles 3 years ago. They're actually in Target now. They're actually at the Target right down the street on 1 South State. I've sold over 5,000 candles, and I only just introduced it as something that was non-alcoholic. It was like, it was just coming to, remember I told you about my passion, about it just follows you? It just hit me. It just hit me. I just actually came up with body butters as well, so that's selling really well on my website. I'm gonna keep those exclusive. But I wanted to hit all 5 senses, and I think my company has. I'll tell anybody wanting to be an entrepreneur now, don't do overkill, don't overdo it. Don't become a beauty shop that's also a pet shop, that's also a real estate shop, that also sells insurance, that also sells purses. Don't do it. Everything, and I was joking, guys, you can laugh a little bit. Everything makes sense, right? So I hit the trifecta of everything that makes sense within my company. So I'm setting a mood. So the mood was candles, a little body butter, and wine.
So that's how I came up with candles, and they're in 3 Targets right now and growing.
And then I just have one more. You said that you have a full-time job and you're going with your passion. How do you balance? Because I know sometimes the money be so good with your full-time job that you lose track and you still want to go with your passion, but you kind of get stuck with, okay, this is paying my bills and everything else.
So how do I manage a full-time job but also being a full-time entrepreneur? How's that possible? Within my full-time job, I'm an expert, if you will, right now as far as sales. I'm in the management part of marketing and sales. So it comes naturally to me. I've been in it for 20 plus years, so it's easy for me. So actually I use my full-time job as a release, because if I just concentrated on Love Corkscrew every day, all day, and I was waiting for that email or waiting for that phone call or waiting for somebody to make a move for me to make money or waiting for somebody to send a check, I would go insane. So I need that outlet to be able to do something different and step away. And it's amazing. I'm telling you, it's really awesome when you don't focus so much energy and wait for that one thing to happen and you step away. That's when all the great things happen. So I'll be at work and be able to focus on something that, again, is so easy for me. Like, I know exactly what to tell the big bosses. I've been doing this forever, right? I know what to do. I know how to make money for the company. Great, yay! And then when I take my lunch break, I look at my phone and something amazing just happened. And I'm able to do something for Love Corkscrew that if I was staring at the phone that whole day, I would have gone nuts. And it may not have happened. So I use my full time as a release. And I got insurance, so hey. I think my time's about up. That's it. Well, thank you guys for having me. This is so much fun.
Let's have a huge, thunderous round of applause. And do me a favor, everyone throw up your hearts. Do you guys know how to do the heart sign like this? Because we heart you, Krishan. Throw up your hearts and then throw flowers like this. Throw flowers. Yay. You guys, one more round of applause. Thank you so much. We heart you. Thank you. So a couple notes. So you guys, your sessions start at 10 a.m. They're all on the 6th floor. Did everyone get a program? So the programs tell you, and you can pick whatever session you want. There are a whole bunch of them. So also, we will meet back in here for lunch at noon.